Greetings, my fellow freelance sovereign thinkers. This is LO3 Viewers Podcast. My name is Craig, transmitting from the beautiful Slumpy Mangoes of South Florida. And today's date is Friday, October 20th, 2017. Yes, I am at CJ's Java Lounge, located at 400 Southwest 1st Avenue, Suite 1 to be exact, at the Yacht Club within Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Southwest section of the Andrews Avenue Bridge. Oh, excuse me here. Yeah, so the whole big topic was Richard Spencer's speech that occurred yesterday afternoon at University of Florida. And of course you have a lot of people protesting and saying no more Nazi this, Nazi that, no white supremacy and all that good stuff. Well, it was interesting because I'll be very frank, I am not a supporter of this man. There's some even claims that he was a spoiled rich kid that never had a hard day's work in his life. Or in some of the articles I've read, of course, there was a claim he could be an operative as well. Is it possible? Yes, I'm not going to doubt that in my mind. I questioned him as well. And many of folks at University of Florida were giving him the middle finger, say go home fascist, go home Spencer, F you Spencer and all that. And I'm going to have to watch the rest of the video respectfully, but all I hear was this total disrupting his speech and calling him this and that. But one thing I give a lot of the people credit for outside of that, most of them, they did not support fighting or violence, which is good. So you got good people out there who are protesting, and there's even video footage of when one guy has swastikas on h's t-shirt, and they just like started singing songs. One black gentleman gave him a hug. All right, it was hilarious, but the others said don't fight him, no violence, don't touch him, no violence. And see, I admire that. That's one thing we gotta do when it comes to free speech and peacefully to assemble. Make it stick. As far as I'm concerned, even some of the rhetoric on Spencer, he reminds me of an Al White Sharpton in a lot of areas. You know, stir up the pot and all that. You know, one thing I always tell folks, you know, even if he comes in, do your homework, know your opposition, then throw some legitimate questions. You gotta have the mindset of Sun Tzu. Then you can make better waves, better impact. Shutting someone down, like I said, which they didn't do over here, which is good, would be a very poor mistake. Yeah, so you gotta have charlatans have the right to speak their mind. It's just, that's how it is. And you have the right to criticize these particular individuals, but always have facts and merits. Don't be a parrot. I always say that too about Donald Trump when he came in. I see too many parrots out there without any merit. Always got to look at things into a bigger picture. And yes, it was a little bit juvenile in the auditorium itself. And of course, Spencer played along and just sucked up their energies and manifested it. But that's how it is. But the whole thing is, I always let people know, let him speak his mind, then challenge him at the mic. They did have mics to challenge him. Instead of screaming and yelling and cursing at him, boom, blast him with the truth. And all those people that was against this man speaking, because he had tyrannical attributes. You got to do it to every single speaker that had that mindset, that including the communists, that including ones that are pro-big government, pro-big brother. Anyone with these tyrannical attributes, including Spencer, according to a lot of protesters out there, you got to give them that same treatment. If not, then you're just being biased. In other words, bigoted. Be persistent or consistent. Don't just pick and choose. That is dangerous. If someone speaks in the communist views and people going to think he's a great guy, but for Spencer, you gotta give him, you gotta throw a monkey wrench at him. You gotta do it to both. All forms of tyranny in the United States and the state of Florida is completely unacceptable. Always gotta see things in the broader picture. So you have to, like I told all my friends out there, observe responsibly. Know the facts. I even tell it to my brothers and sisters that are fellow actors from different political aspects. You gotta see things a lot deeper and be hardcore and keep it real. But good thing about it overall, it was peaceful. What I witnessed and observed. Of course, people were heckling him, which expected. But the fact is, when if you want to have a debate with this man, have your facts, challenge him. Don't be afraid. Don't scream and yell. That's too good. Get him with decorum. In other words, get him with kindness. It's like politicians. They try to sneak things in and believe you're gonna belly up. Counter it with that. Trust me, you'll get them a lot more ticked off. I guarantee you that. So, enough of the whole bread and circus. Let's go after these people and ridicule them with the truth. Then that will set you free and tick off individuals like him. Like he even brings up white genocide. Yes, like I tell people in my past shows, it does exist. It's just an example of what's going on around the world. When it comes to democide and genocide. And people that know my show know how when I address this, I condemn it all with the passion. Alright, so before I'm going to proceed on what's going on with Mr. Spencer, of course I am going to plug in post a video of this from American Revolution on his speech. But before I'm going to talk about what happened, I'm going to address here from the John Birch Society. It doesn't matter if you like these individuals or not, but it has a lot of good merit. Some of the stuff. It says here, support HR 193 to get the U.S. out of the UN. This was updated February 3rd, but I seen the video on it, so I take the initiative. It's still on the floor. Trump put the UN in the news. Let's use it to get the U.S. out. President Trump has been putting in the UN in the news ever since the UN Security Council adoption of a resolution condemning certain Israeli settlements as illegal in late December. The Obama administration allowed the resolution to pass by abstaining instead of vetoing it. Then President-elect Trump and Congress were highly critical of both the UN action and the Obama administration's role in at the time. Next, it was widely reported on January 25th that President Trump's administration was preparing two drafts of executive orders regarding the UN. One, auditing and reducing the U.S. fund of international organizations, and two, a moratorium on new multilateral treaties. 2 days later, Trump's ambassador to the United Nations stated, "We're going to see a change in the way we do business. For those who don't have our back, we're taking names." Since Trump put the UN in the news, let's get the U.S. out. And you can click it, and actually Mike Rogers, Republican from Alabama, introduced the American Sovereignty Restoration Act in the 115th Congress on January 3rd, 2017. Is bill number HR 193, and you can look for that yourselves. And even I may disagree with some of the information pertaining on Israel and all that. Like, I'm not saying they're always wrong. There's areas I may be critical of as well, respectfully. However, this bill, we need to get the United States out of the UN because they've been a major black eye. There's a lot of tyranny within this organization, including a great amount of corruption, such as human trafficking, slaughtering innocent people, that happened even in Rwanda, areas in Africa, and even Haiti as well. Like, I knew about that, like hell, about 16 years ago, I read stuff like this. And look what happened in the Korean War, Korean conflict. Oh yeah, they interfered in the civil war with Korea and bombed the daylights out of North Korea. 30% of the population was decimated, and the place was into rubble, and they had a truce and never rebuilt. You gotta think about that too. Like I said, I'm not lovey-dovey Kim Jong-un, but you have to see things a lot broader than what it is, my friend. You gotta study history before jumping on the bandwagon of conclusions. Yes, I do endorse HR 193. Doesn't matter what your political system is. It doesn't matter if it's Democrat, Republican, regardless. I try to be more pro-Constitution the best I can, and I do have to take the initiative on verifying things. So I am going to add it to my footnotes as well, because this is very essential. So definitely, you got to spread the word, share it to everyone you know, and even people in other parts of the world that hears my show. You should probably do a little redraft or reconfigurating and bring it to your nation, elected servants. Tell them, hey, let's get the hell out of the UN. They're not more than a nefarious global entity, part of the New World Order agenda. Okay, enough of that. So there's going to be an article here. That'll be one article on the whole Spencer thing. And it came out yesterday. It says here, U.S. found out Richard Spencer with peace and unity and at least one punch. It wasn't shot. It was by Alex Harris and Martin Fasolo. It says here it wasn't Charlottesville when the prominent white nationalist Richard Spencer came to the University of Florida on Thursday. The incident of violence were limited because of $600,000 police presence from across the state. What conflict did occur? Pepper spraying, punching, and chasing was largely instigated by anti-fascist protesters. Interesting. You're always going to have those particular entities, troublemakers in these movements, regardless, expected. It can be provocateurs for all we know. There were 5 minor injuries and 2 arrests. One for a Gainesville man charged with resisting arrest without violence, and another for a media member security guard found with a pistol and a knife. Supporters of the alt-right firebrand was largely outnumbered as hundreds of protesters flooded the street outside the Phillips Center for Performing Arts where Spencer spoke. Spencer ended his speech half an hour early because protesters were made up of a majority of 456 seats filled out over 700. Scream chants F. Spencer and Black Lives Matter throughout the speech. At one point, the protest started a Gator football chant, alternatively yelling orange and blue. Yeah, like I said, I'm critical of Black Lives Matter in a lot of areas as well. So to me, it's just another finance movement. The following event, an argument at the CVS parking lot near campus, resulted in a single shot being fired at a pedestrian at a bus stop, though it did not hit its target. Although details remain unclear, witnesses told police an average-looking white male exited a vehicle, shot the group, and fled. Gainesville police investigators do not know if the shooting was related to Thursday's event. There was a clear tension between those who want to fight hate with love and those who thought violence was the answer. Trey Taylor, 19-year-old Santa Fe College freshman, a confrontation with an alt-right supporter nearly escalated to violence, but he restrained himself and simply asked, "Why do you hate us?" Violence shouldn't become an answer, but it seems a response people come to Taylor, who is half black, so he's a mulatto. No one needs to be hated unless there's something who preaches hate. The protesters march against visitor white nationalist Richard Spencer to the University of Florida. So it's like a whole rundown here. Jamie, a 27-year-old, it came out yesterday too, so Jamie, 27-year-old UF alumni and Gainesville successfully stood up to racism and hate. When Spencer talked, she scores, others stood with fists clenched and shouted him down. Sometimes that little fist represents communism too, so you gotta always look at these things. I'll just say allegedly. I think today is a win for the people who believe in peace and unity, the U.S. Alama said. Last-minute change meant the National Policy Institute hand out tickets to Spencer's event at the entrance to the Phillips Center after attendees passed through a crush of protesters and gauntlet of police officers. Officers confiscated signs and turned people with cameras away. At least 2 people were blocked from entering because of their canes. Seth Smith, a Gainesville veteran who used a cane because of an injury in Iraq, was wearing a Black Lives Matter pin and said police turned him away as a result of his cane. Then Eli Mosey, head of the white nationalist group Identity Evropa, has said punch him out, get him out of here. Pretty crappy. They beat someone when they're down, right? Others were turned away because of slogans on their shirts or the phone numbers written on their arms, a common tactic by protesters who were expected to be arrested. At least one would-be attendee was forced to be removed by the Florida Highway Patrol troopers who were helping to provide security. Samantha Sherler, a former U.S. student, said she wasn't given a reason when officers told her to leave. I think it's racism, it's arbitrary, she said. They told me to leave, and they dragged me. A private group not under the purview of the University of Florida National Policy Institute was allowed to choose whom they allowed to enter. How sweet. Inside the venue, impassioned chanting drowned out Spencer's plea for dialogue, while U.S. allowed Spencer to speak on campus. At least 100 U.S. students and enemies of the permanent firebrand attempted a so-called heckler's veto. Go home, Spencer, protesters yelled as scores of their peers marched outside the venue. What are you doing here? Supporters of Spencer's responded, you will not replace us. There's video clips on here too, but Spencer persisted with his message of white nationalism and the importance of free speech, no matter how offensive. Earlier, he thanked U.S. President Ken Fuchs for allowing him to speak on campus despite outrage from many of the student body and the community. Fuchs responded via Twitter condemning Spencer, calling him a racist. For the record, I don't stand behind a racist Richard Spencer, he said. I stand with those who reject Spencer's vile and despicable message. And he did another one I addressed on my past show. He defies all form of racism, so not just one particular group. So he said across the board, which that's how you have to be. So I will continue on here. From a balcony overlooked the Phillips Center crowd, a handful of police officers in riot gear stood at attention. Spencer condemned the crowd for being so hostile. At least 2 individuals were escorted out of the venue for undisclosed reasons. One of them, Randy Riddell, who promised to cause a ruckus, confronted a Spencer supporter in the road behind him. The 2 briefly exchanged words, and the man tore up Rendell's sign. But the resistance outnumbered the supporters, and soon enough, Spencer's scheduled 2-hour discussion regressed into an extending shouting match between Spencer and his allies and protesters. Spencer, although appeared frustrated at times, remained relatively calm. He spoke the praises of the alt-right movement, one he vowed he would take over the world. Pretty cute, huh? So they're all gonna take over the world. Everyone believe in this ethnic cleansing. This one particular movement's gonna take over the world. Come on. I want to say, I can ask Spencer this. Are you being financed by the Rothschilds? Something to really think about now, my friends, okay? And it goes on here. Spit flies at man dressed with swastika t-shirt in Gainesville. A man wearing a shirt with various swastikas spat on outside the venue at the University of Florida in Gainesville on Thursday, October 19, 2017, while white nationalist Richard Spencer gave a speech. He ended the 30-minute event early, concluding his talk were berating protesters, calling them failures. Outside, the few Spencer supporters who did show up were promptly surrounded and shouted by down protesters. One man was punched in the face, another was pepper spray in the eye. See, right there, folks, I don't support that, okay? Still, others were chased to the police barricades where they begged for protection from police. One man jumped the fence to avoid a chain access gun, was led away in handcuffs. While Spencer spoke, a lone man with swastikas, hand drawn on his shirt and a red marker, made his way to the crowd of kind of protesters, where he was soon surrounded. At one point, swastika man and Black Lives Matter supporters was talking to hug each other. Others spat on him. Father from the center. You can see that too. There's a Twitter on the Twitter page. Okay. Father from the center. A few members in the crowd encouraged people to punch him. No one will know it's you. One male protester, the gray hoodie, said. No, one protester yelled. Do not do that, please. It will go against everything we're here standing up for. And I commend that protester because he's telling them think what you're doing. He's being methodical, and that's a good way of doing it. Suddenly, the crowd surged forward, and the man was lifted up and shoved away from the person he was talking to. The crowd marched occasionally, brushing up against troopers who screamed, "Get back!" and brandished clubs. At some point, someone punched the man in the face. So there's some disappointments in here, too, as well. The crowd walked the man into his conversation partner to a police road barricade of heavy machinery. The cops pulled a swastika man who was bleeding from the mouth. Another black man who was speaking behind the barriers. Round two, one protester called out. The target, a man holding a Founding Fathers equals alt-right sign, was accused of making lynching gestures. While the majority of the crowd sang at him, someone ripped his sign apart. I see someone out here with a Human Rights Campaign sign, equal sign, a flag. So protesters, alleged guy, yes, Alex Harris put this out there on Twitter as well. People start chase the man who tried to jump over a barricade in police protection. The cops stopped him. In front of police officers, the protester alerted he's got a weapon. Officers immediately detained the man and searched his pockets. One officer pulled out something unidentifiable and said, "You gotta be kidding me." The policeman led away. So, at the end of the day, protesters said they felt their message was heard, and pro-Spencer demonstrators said they gained a valuable platform. Cynthia Yanez, a Cuban Muslim woman who grew up in Miami, said she was proud of the city where she went to college and got the job as a social worker. I think his agenda was to incite violence in such a liberal community so he could point his finger and say, "See, this is why we need separation," she said. That didn't happen. Martin Poirier, a 23-year-old U.S. alumna, self-proclaimed Spencer supporter, believes this alma mater is a radicalization engine and it indoctrinates its students into thinking like communists and anarchists. We are tired of the far left dominating the campus's discourse, and the far right is making ourselves heard immensely by its event, said Poirier, adding he still lives in Gainesville. Cameron Paddage, a 29-year-old who booked Spencer's university event, said he sees the event as something to learn from. He booked Spencer at several universities in the coming months, including the University of Michigan and the University of North Carolina. Spencer remains steadfast that his appearance was a success and this movement will continue to grow. You think that you shut me down? Well, you didn't. You failed at your own game, he said, toward the end of his appearance. The world is going to have a very different impression of University of Florida. The world is not going to be proud of you. So that's his statement. The whole thing is this, my friends. Yes, you got to be critical as one thing. You got to like I said before, let these individuals speak their mind and counter with intellectual ammunition. I bet you one thing. If you'd have done that with a lot of the merits, man, that will be egg on his face. And the National Policy Institute, NPI. That's how you got to do things. You remember, to every single individual that have this mindset, regardless of what they look like. If it comes to tyranny, you got to call these individuals out, regardless. I know I'm digressing, and I apologize. If you think the Nazis are the only problem, you should focus our governments on the federal, state, and local level as well, because sometimes they do have this fascist mindset. Because, okay, so you shut down, you told Spencer how you feel, which is great. That's all well and good. But you gotta be persistent. You want to fight all forms of tyranny? Start on your local level, and don't use the communist ways or tyrannical ways, because it's not going to work. It's going to backfire. Because one thing I know for sure, my friends, the world is waking up, including everyone in the United States and the state of Florida. I chat with folks down here all the time, even in South Florida, believe it or not. People come to me about it now, and what's going on in the world. So, like I said, keep your natural born rights intact. Never censor. But when you have these speakers, call it as it is. And another thing, if there's discussions on the floor, debate them, challenge them. Even if you make a mistake, learn from it. Everything's trial and error. Because like I said, government in Latin means control of the mind. Never trust the government either. But the main idea is stay vigilant. And you know another thing too, everyone's worried about Nazis. You should be going after the FBI and take down J. Edgar Hoover's name from the J. Edgar Hoover building. He was a Nazi sympathizer. You can look it up yourselves. Don't be shy. The upcoming Fourth Reich, the FBI. You can look it up. I did a show on that. So what I'm going to be doing, I'm going to add Richard Spencer's full speech by American Revolution. And got like 3,470 views. Definitely, give these guys a little love, all right? Okay, so next one here came out yesterday by the New American. FBI documents show Comey protected Clinton. Newly released FBI documents confirmed that ousted FBI Director James Comey, shown on the right, protected Hillary Clinton. According to a series of tweets by President Trump, the president's early morning tweets on Tuesday are in keeping with previous statements he made about Comey's protection of Clinton during her email scandal. Alright, so this is very interesting here. The biggest difference is at this time is that documents from the FBI confirmed Trump's claim. The documents were released by FBI Monday and prove, among other things, that Comey began drafting a letter regarding the investigation to Hillary Clinton's use of a private unsecured email server and account during her time as Secretary of State, months before the FBI had interviewed several key people involved. One of the people not interviewed before Comey began drafting his letter was Clinton herself. This means that months before the conclusion of the investigation, which twice ended with Comey publicly refusing to recommend the indictment for Clinton's many and obvious crimes, Comey had already decided that's how it would end. So we'll just leave her alone and we'll crucify the president. Except no. Being biased is okay, except no. See, look at that. Corruption at its finest, right? With protection like that, it's no wonder Clinton was never worried about being indicted. In fact, New American reported in October 2016 that heavily redacted FBI document from August 2015 mentioned a group called the Shadow Government made up of very high-ranking state officials that was working to protect Clinton. So Comey's decision to protect Clinton did not happen in a vacuum. He may have been following guidance in not a direct order from those higher than him on a totem pole. It is not known what Comey wrote, since the entire body of the letter, drafted as an email, is redacted in the version made public Monday. The email was dated May 2nd, 2016, and was sent by Comey to Deputy Director Andrew McCabe, General Counsel James Baker, and Chief of Staff Senior Counsel James Rybicki. In the release, the document to the public as part of the Freedom of Information Act request, the FBI titled its draft of directors, Comey's July 5, 2016 statement regarding email server investigation of Part 1 of 1. In the release of the document Monday, President Trump sent out a series of early morning tweets. Tuesday saying, "Well, FBI confirms that James Comey drafted little exonerating crooked Hillary Clinton long before the investigation was complete. Many. 6:21 a.m. October 18, 2017, people not interviewed, including Clinton herself, Comey stated under oath that he didn't do this, obviously a fix." It's a question, where's the Justice Department? And there's another one, same time, 6:27, the same date. As it turned out, James Comey lied and leaked and totally protected Hillary Clinton. It was a big thing that ever happened to her. And same thing at 7:56 a.m., the same date. The president's tweet echoes his previous claims that Clinton was being protected by the rigged system. This time, though, Trump can wave the document at liberal mainstream reporters if they mock him for saying it. It's difficult to believe that any other view of Comey drafting his statement exonerating Clinton months before the investigation has ended other that he planned along to give her pass no matter what. For instance, former Attorney General Eric Holder's claim to CNN that Comey had already had enough evidence to know where the investigation was going to end up. It's lacking because the evidence early clearly indicated that Hillary Clinton was guilty of what she was accused of doing. And this writer is a powerful company making that assertion. So the Judiciary Committee sent a letter dated August 30th, 2017 to newly appointed FBI Director Christopher Wray, saying in part the outcome of the investigation should not be prejudged while the FBI agents are still working hard at trying to gather facts. The newly revelation brings Comey's previous testimony on the matter into question, and he will likely soon to have the answer to pointed out and difficult questions, because as part of the investigation demanded by Democrats who sought to use Comey's surprise firing in May as a tool to legitimize Trump's presidency continues. Senator Charles Chuck Grassley, Republican from Iowa, and Lindsey Graham, Republican from South Carolina, who both sit on the committee, intend to have those questions answered. Graham has gone so far to say that it is necessary he will issue a subpoena compelling Comey's testimony. On September 14, Graham told Fox News American Newsroom he's coming one way or the other. Before this is over, those Democrats who pressed this investigation may regret getting what they wished for, because this is not likely to turn out as they hoped. Interesting. So even though I don't like these bastards, but it's a lot of cloak and daggering going on here. But the truth of the matter is, my friends, a lot of us know, even in past actions, we know a lot of these people, the Obama administration, the Clintons too, they're very corrupt parasites, okay, based on their actions. And I don't know why I don't see people, these Obama supporters, still want to kiss his behind. He's not more than just another bend over Bob to the New World Order. Think he's such a great man. Come on. He's not exceptional. He's not special. He's just another teleprompting stooge. The Clintons, for goodness sakes, we all know about them. Them and the Bushes are like bed buddies anyway. So the dynamic duo clan, So this is why this has to pursue it, and not pursue it on principle. I'm not impressed by Comey. When everyone had this big hype about the Russian collusion, he had no merit. So you know what? The guy's a fraud, a phony, and a poser. All right? Comey, as far as I'm concerned. If people get offended by that, I don't care. I don't like these individuals, okay? He's a fascistic pig himself, based on his attributes. Hate saying it, but just his actions is weak and pathetic. But if you do something wrong, they want to crucify you on the cross. So I'm going to see here. This one here is interesting. It came out a couple of days ago. Nationwide human trafficking stings and snares multiple cops. 84 kids as young as 3 months. Free. Activist post. And originally came from Free Thought Project. Yeah, Free Thought Project is by Matt Angus. It says here, multiple undercover sting operations across the United States were carried out this month targeting adult and child sex trafficking. The result of many of these stings netted hundreds of arrests, including doctors, pharmacists, high-level military officers, and law enforcement officers. Dozens of children were also rescued, including one as young as 3 months old. That's pretty damn sick. That's the most we have ever arrested in the history of the Sheriff's Office. Sheriff Grady Judd said of his undercover operation in Polk County, Florida. I'm pretty critical of him, but this area I will commend. I'll be fair. I have different first, but he do things right, I'm gonna thank him. The sheriff is referring to 277 people rounded up in Operation No Tricks, No Treats, which started last Tuesday and ran through Monday. According to the Sheriff's Office, as reported by WFLA, 51 of the arrests related to those who advertised as prostitutes online, and 209 of the arrests were those solicited undercover detectives posing as prostitutes. 17 arrests were made for other offenses. The sheriff noted that the arrests included lawyers, doctors, pharmacists, former and current police officers, multiple men that have sex with children, and 6 convicted sex offenders. During the bust, the sheriff even nabbed a cop in his own department. Since his arrest, Sergeant Luis Diaz has resigned from the force after 17 years. And you can see his mugshot. Interesting. According to this is by Melissa Marino from the Twitter. It says here, breaking caught one of the sergeants. Polk County Sheriff caught one of his sergeants in human trafficking scheme. He made a deal for $100 for sex at WFLA. Happened on the 17th. In another far more horrifying bust conducted by the FBI, 84 children were saved and 120 human traffickers were arrested. FBI agents and task force staged operations in hotel, casinos, and truck stops, as well on street corners and internet websites. According to the release as reported by Myrtle Beach Online, the youngest victim recovered during this operation was 3 months old, and the average age of victims were recovered during the operation was 15 years old, the release stated. The child sex trafficking is happening in every community across America, and at the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, we're working to combat this problem every day, said NCMEC President and CEO John Clark. We're proud to work with the FBI at Operation Cross Country to help find and recover child victims. We hope the OCC generates more awareness about this crisis impacting our nation's children. We at the FBI have no greater mission than to protect our nation's children from harm. Unfortunately, the number of traffickers arrested and the number of children recovered reinforces what we need to continue to do this important work. The FBI Director Christopher Wray said in the release, it is important to note that some of these arrests included people trying to simply pay another willing adult to have sex with them. In the land of free, it's against the law to get paid to have sex unless that sex is filmed, distributed on DVD, and taxed. One of the least talked about systems and the oppression in the U.S. is that persecuting prostitutes. When referencing prostitution, it's a critical point that we are talking about mutually beneficial exchange of sex favors for money by two or more consenting adults, not forced human trafficking. Sadly enough, the state's prohibition on prostitution actually fosters the underground trades of humans as it pushes the selling of sex into dark alleyways and criminal entities. Also, what the case points out, when it comes to the government in general, the notion of do as I say or do rings true through entry level, from the parking transit officer to the president. Hypocrisy is a function of the state. Citizens of the U.S. are often reminded of this hypocrisy when members of the government commit such heinously criminal and hypocritical acts that they are casting out from the curtain of government protection. All these cops getting busted for acts that themselves have likely thrown people in prison for the epitome of said hypocrisy. However, a human sex trafficking in the United States is very real and a horrifying problem. As the Free Thought Project has pointed out that, and what some of the arrests in this bust show, the monsters behind this darkness are often upstanding members of society. Though their connections within the state, they are allowed to operate these modern-day slave traders with impunity. In case after case, the Free Thought Project reports on horrifying instances of child sex rings that were allowed to go on for decades because politicians, including the heads of state, policemen, clergy, and others, were all on the sick game. In fact, as the Netflix series The Keepers set to launch on investigations and murder cold case, it soon became much deeper because of high-level pedophilia it revealed. The story exposed a concerted effort to conceal widespread rape and sexual abuse committed by Keough school chaplain and the counselor Father Joseph Masco, as well as other clergy, police, and local gynecologists. On other multiple occasions, the Free Thought Project has reported interviews of former child sex trafficking victims who all noted that they had nowhere to go, as police and high-level politicians all took place in the abuse. Hopefully, as the government's war on drugs continue to crumble, people will wake up to the fact that rescuing a child from a rape is far more important than catching some dude smoking a plant. Hopefully. This is absolutely correct. And even too, like I said, Donald Trump did an executive order, and I talked about this in my past episodes, about focusing on human trafficking. I think it's the fourth executive order he did when he became president. And regardless, I shared that with folks. They agree completely, regardless if they like the president or not. It was a damn good order, and a lot of stuff has been happening. He became president when it came to these human trafficking issues in the United States, and even the world is following up to it as well. This is a real sick and unacceptable practice. It's like zombies. Vampires, you take them out. If it as a last resort. But you'll never ever do that. Never. Even people with LaVeya's satanic views condemn this with a passion as well. You disagree with people's beliefs, but if you have this in common, that's what matters. None of these children deserve to be abused and be treated like pieces of garbage or numbers. That's against my guilt, my friends. And hopefully this will pursue. Throw these bastards in prison with just due process. If something happens to them, so be it. If they get in. Because it's just another number in the jail system. Those are the criminals that should be going in there. Not this victimless crime crap. This is the real deal. I'm glad this is happening as we speak. That people being busted. And that is it. That is it, to be very frank. I'd like to thank everyone for listening. Plus, feel free to share this, download and share throughout social media networks. If you have any questions, comments, or you want to be something that's interesting you may want to check out, whatever you do, please address your correspondences with decorum, which most of you can have, which is great. You can hit me on Facebook, Twitter, Google+, Spreaker, iHeartRadio, Tumblr, YouTube, Freedoms Network, Scene.life, Minds.com, FutureNet.club, Patreon.com/LincolnThird with 3 eyes. If you want to be a donor, that'd be fantastic. You can hit me on Gab, gab.ai, which is a Twitter alternative version of Twitter, because they've been a lot of issues like censorship as well. In addition, you can email me at LokiLuck3@gmail.com, or to encrypted ones, LokiLuck03@protonmail.com. Once again, thank you for your time. Plus, always remember that the demoniac resistance is healthy for the soul and can liberate humanity. Until next time, take care of yourselves, keep on spreading love. May your guardian spirits be with you.